on the air for a while, but How I Spent the Apocalypse. And I've decided not to change the name because, and I'll tell you why, nothing ever really gets better, does it? Just more of the same crap. You know, Trump is like the amazing Teflon man. No matter what happens, he just seems to roll off. Okay, so I think I talked about before, we're losing a bunch of our post oaks, which is a pain in the ass. Come over here, eh? I'll show you, this is very problematic. We got a tree guy who's supposed to come and do this. This great big tree, one of the ones that I cabled, has the fungus all the way down. It's completely dead. That's why the leaves are still on it. It died last summer in the drought.
So the one on the right is the one that's completely dead?
The one on the right is the one that's complete. The one on the left is still alive, and we hope to keep it alive many more years, but we don't know really what's happening. Okay, so we're going to lose a lot of our post oaks, which means we're going to have to replant trees that aren't going to die from the borers and
the fungus and everything else.
Meanwhile, anytime I'm cutting anything, till somebody tells me otherwise, I'm treating the blade. So, you know, Clorox disinfectants. Why doesn't Clorox pay me? I don't know. Why don't you fuckers buy books? Why don't you guys watch this enough? Okay, so I'm going to clean them, put them in the sun to dry. I'm going to clean them, the blades, so that when I cut in my grape, because today I've got to finish fixing the grape arbor.
Right.
Which means I got to cut it all the way back so that I can pull the top off and replace it. Now, I don't know if I told you or not, but when I made that arbor 50 billion years ago, back when rocks were soft and dinosaurs were there, many moons ago, anyway, I used 2x4-inch welded wire over the landscape timbers. It served us pretty well, but the problem was you can't get your hand through. So now that I have to replace, you already saw me replace a couple of the timbers. I'm going to replace the rest of the timbers across the top. The side timbers surprisingly seem to be okay. I'm just going to treat them with drain oil. I'm going to cut the top out. And so I've got to cut the top out, so I've got to trim the muscadines all the way down, which we'll deal in a minute. But I was going to have to buy
panels.
4x4-inch panels. They call them pig panels or sheep panels. I can't remember which. And I was going to buy that to do it with, which would be better than what I'm going to do, because we wound up spending a bunch of money, and I didn't want to, you know, and I got a bunch more money that needs to be spent to
on the trees.
A bunch of this stuff, on the trees, and I need to paint the other house. The other house is going to have a roof this year. Yay! Okay, so what I decided was, instead of buying that, which would probably run me between, at this point in time, I'm just going to guess that it's going to be $50 to $75 for one panel. I'm going to use the panels that, you remember Tony threw these away when he threw away the little building I made into that little playhouse. And I've been using them for my tomatoes, but I'm getting ready to do something else with my tomatoes, which you'll see. And
they have to be moved anyway, don't they?
And they've got to be moved anyway. But one of them's rustier. This one is the one I'm going to save to do my tomato thing with. The one on the other side is the one I'm going to take.
The one that's not so rusty.
First, I have to cut all the crap off of it that I put on it, you know, to make it into
a tomato trellis.
A tomato thing. And then I'll have to cut it, the length of it, to make it for my grapes. And I will probably use the angle grinder, and I'm going to tell you why. I have bolt cutters. Bolt cutters is a lot faster. Here's the problem. When you cut them with bolt cutters, they make a sharp point that will cut anything and anyone that touches it. I mean, it's like almost like falling on a knife. The goats were getting these horrible wounds, and I couldn't figure out where. And then I caught them scratching themselves on the spikes on the end of the fence, and realized, oh my God, those are sharp like a razor. And those little dumbasses think they're scratching themselves, and they're
cutting themselves all up.
Cutting themselves to pieces. But at any rate, so of course, like everything else, before I can do a project, it starts with taking something else apart.
Right.
But this is Recycling 101. Recycling 101 is anytime I want to do something, I will first have to take apart something.
Yes.
This is not that big a deal because this is an old, you know, this was made to be able to take apart and move. Okay, so
And so why do you have to move the tomatoes anyway?
because I thought I told them that already, but okay, I'll tell them. I move the tomatoes every year because bugs and stuff that are in the tomatoes, that keeps them from, it's just another way to keep from getting the bugs transferred from year to year.
And it has something to do with the
They're in the stem.
Vitamins-
in
vitamins in the-
Nematodes are bad on tomatoes. Nematodes will get in the ground.
and the minerals in the ground too as
Yeah,
well,
it
right?
makes- you just change it around.
Rotating
You
crops.
should rotate your crops anyway. That's
Yeah.
So it's just, you should always rotate your crops. I always rotate my crops. Does it do any good? I don't fucking know, but I do it anyway. You know, because that's who I am. I do a lot of shit. I don't know if it's going to do any good. I just do it anyway. You know, like bitching about the government. I don't know. It just does any fucking good to bitch about the government, you know, and try to get people to get out there and vote. That's about all we can do at this point. Okay, so I'll stack this over here. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I've got to cut a bunch of trees. I'm going to make the boys do that tomorrow.
A bunch of little trees that are coming up,
They cut out
volunteer.
all those trees that have grown up in the hedgerow there.
Right.
And they'll throw that on there and burn that as well. Any of this cardboard that's not breaking down, or that hasn't broke down yet, although that looks like it hasn't, but I bet, yeah, if we pick it up.
It's
But at
broken.
any rate, they'll throw that on there and burn it up. But now I have, if I can get it loose, where is it still connected? Oh, there it is.
And there at the top, there's
Oh yeah,
a
it's
wire.
connected everywhere. Yeah. It was a good idea when it was a trellis, you know, it needed to be all connected. But
Yeah.
Now I
Well, and it's burning right now is perfectly fine because we are still
so
walking.
wet.
Oh,
We're
gosh, it's
so wet
wet.
I can hardly walk around out here.
Yeah.
I have to watch where I'm walking or I'll sink in up to my ass. Because, you know, there is no fucking climate change, but meanwhile we have shit that we've never had before. Like bottomless mud. It's about
yeah.
as close to quicksand as you're going to get in the lower 48. And you can see why Alaska is the only place in the 48 that has quicksand. Because what happened was we had 4 inches of rain,
Very fast.
like in less than 8 hours.
Right.
We had 4 inches of rain. And then immediately that night, it froze down into the 20s and it started, and it stayed there.
For
And,
days and days and days.
because it was barely, if it got it, creeped above freezing, it didn't creep above freezing enough to unthaw the ground before it froze again that night.
Right.
And then we had temperatures that we had the polar vortex come through, and the temperatures plummeted.
Yeah, even further.
Okay. Then we got snow. Then we had a major ice storm. And the temperatures, we had to unplug our freezer. Remember this, people. If you have a refrigerator or a freezer that is outside, that's great because in the cold weather it works less, right? If the temperature drops below 20 degrees, especially if it stays there, you need to unplug your freezer because it will burn the motor up.
Yep.
The juices inside it get too thick and it burns the motor up. So refrigerators, freezers, any of that. Unplug it when it's freezing if it's outside, and then just keep an eye on the temperature to make sure it doesn't.
Ours was unplugged for a week.
Ours was unplugged for a week, and when I finally turned it back on, it was still 23 degrees inside the freezer.
Yep. And nothing even offered to
Nothing
start
even
falling.
offered to come undone, so no freezer burn there. But you have to be careful, you have to watch it, but yeah. Okay, and so that's a shoelace. Why do I keep shoelaces? Because that's been out since I put the tomatoes in.
Still perfectly good. Yeah.
Okay, so they make really great, you know, never throw your shoelaces away.
Yeah,
Just-
unless
just
they're
ignorant.
already rotten, don't
Unless
throw
they're
them
rotten,
away.
Don't throw them away.
Yeah.
Your shoelaces make wonderful stuff to tie plants with or tie stuff like this together with. But anyway, so I will take this now and I will cut it the length I need. And when I get all that cleaned up over there, and I'll just bring the grapevine over here and burn it too. When I get it all done, I will take the section that I cut off here, put it on the top, and as you can see, I can stick my hand through there to get
Yes.
the muscadines,
Yes.
which on 2 by 4-inch welded wire,
No can do.
it worked really good, but I had to use a wire
Yeah.
to snake the muscadines that were on the top, and most of them grow on the top.
Right.
I used to, when the kids were little, I used to make them stick through and get with Zebo. I used to make Zeb reach his hand through there and get all
Yeah,
the
we'd hold him up
muscadines.
there and he'd just pick muscatines to his heart's content. Yeah, he's got big hands now. Big boy.
Where is
It's-
sunrise, sunset?
Watch it. Copyright infringement.
No,
Okay. No. You want me to?
no, see, public domain.
Oh, that's right. So, do you want me to come back in a minute?
Yeah, come back in a minute. I've got to go get tools and I've got to go over there and start cutting that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yay!
I got to cut down about, because the top hasn't been cut, but the sides have been. The sides and the get cut, but the top basically
see
is
the
an
muscadine
unruly
over
mess.
there on the top.
And here's the thing. I ought to trim it down back every freaking fall or at this time. I ought to cut it all the way back. And the reason why is it grows better and puts on better fruit if you cut it back. But who has time for all that shit?
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah.
Not me. But yeah. I should make time, but I don't because I'm an asshole. We've already discovered that.
We still have
But anyway.
muscadines.
We still have muscadines, but not as many as we would have. Well, and this year we didn't have worth of shit because I used it for scaffolding and pour. The whole back section was just crushed under the
Yeah.
scaffolding. Okay, so we went from that super, super cold, which a lot of you did the same thing. It was colder than average temperatures. I had to bundle up. I was out here 2 and 3 hours a day with the wind chill sub-zero. I had hot hands in my boot, in the toes of my shoes. I had hot hands in my gloves. Between the layers of gloves, I was layered up, and I had to because the animals don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They're assholes.
Yeah.
And they have to have warm water. In fact, I almost made Al sick because I was watering him on top of the ice and it was too cold and his rumen stopped digesting and he felt like crap, but I could see what it was real quick. Because we're not used to dealing with Sub-Zero, so
Right.
we're not used to what it does to the animals.
So, what did you do for Al?
Okay, so for Al, I gave him, I started giving him warm water and I had to cart it out there 3 times a day, give him warm water to drink. And then I gave him a bunch of molasses. And molasses
In that
helps their
water.
systems. It jumps their system back up, gives them lots of calories to bleed. And I started giving the girls the same thing. I started giving them molasses too, all through it. Okay, now I'll show you. I don't know if I told you, but my son got some food pantry. They got given 40 billion pumpkins. And one of Meyer's buddies that was working at the food pantry, because he's a really great guy, who was working at the food pantry, they were going to throw all these pumpkins away. A truckload of them. So he asked Meyer if he wanted them, and he goes like, yeah, sure, I can use some pumpkins. He gets there, it's a whole truckload. He's like, Mom, I can't use a whole truckload. I got rid of my goats. The horse won't eat it. And he said, and the chickens just don't eat them that fast. So he brought me a whole truckload of pumpkins. I just put the last one out yesterday. In fact, if you look through the fence there, you can
Yeah, I'll go
see
over
it.
and show him.
Well, be careful you don't slip
I
in
will.
the
When you're
mud.
finished, I'll go over and then.
But yeah, and so what I did was the goats didn't want anything to do with them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't eat them. So I was giving them to the chickens, and it was really, they weren't, like I said, they didn't eat them that fast. I kept giving them to the goats, and they would pick at them. They would eat at the seeds and the guts. Then they would eat all the seeds and the guts, but they would not touch the pumpkin part. Too much work or something, because, animals are assholes.
Right.
So when he had so much trouble and I gave him molasses and I decided I wanted to hit the girls before they had any trouble at all, when I did that, I decided, let's put molasses in this pumpkin and see what happens. I put molasses in that pumpkin. They ate the crap out of
They ate
those
everything
pumpkins.
down to the
They
shell.
eat it until it's just a little bit of the outside, and then I throw it to the chickens. And the chickens actually eat it better as it starts to deteriorate.
Right.
Then they'll eat it till there's nothing left but the orange outside.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So, but it's sad because we had a whole trunkload of, and during that horrible cold snap, I wound up using up all of the rest of the pumpkins.
Well, we had them.
Yeah, just to try to keep the goats out.
And looking at this mess here, I don't know if I can walk over there or not.
Yeah. You want me to do it?
Yeah, if you want to take that over there, I'm afraid to. I'll be honest.
I just poured some more molasses. That's the last pumpkin, so I poured. They don't mind.
Them around crazy.
I know what I'm doing. Hey, you know what? I cannot waste. There you go. See, I think that's one. Yeah, there's one. And you can see they'll come and they'll dig on it till they want that molasses so bad that they eat the sides of it trying to get the molasses out of there. But you can see, yeah, they're pretty happy goats. And right there they are. You know, there's little Bonnie is over there and chowing down, and now look, Annie's right there chowing down. But you can see look what our barnyard looks like. Look at this ground. This is what I'm talking about. It's just, look where how far the dog is sinking in. Can you see that? I don't know, because I can't see. Here, there you go.
Yeah, they ought to be able to see that.
Have to fix that.
That's all right. I'll just give them a seasickness warning before you take it, the camera. Okay. I'll be back, okay?
Okay.
Just a quick shot of the before. This is what it looks like right now, because she's already reinforced some of the structure. She's going to reinforce more, but she has to cut it all out first.
All right, so what you didn't see me do is I went over and got the timbers. I had exactly, if you remember, and maybe you don't, and maybe I didn't say anything, because Lynn tells me I do that all the time. The bottom step, when we re-poured that, there were all kinds of landscape timbers under it, and most of them were destroyed beyond imagination. But I wound up with exactly 3 of them that were in perfect condition except for the nails and shit.
Right.
I already put 1 in. I need to replace this one, and that one. That's how many? 3. So I went over, got them out of the shop, cleaned them up, cut them to 4 foot, because that's how long they needed to be. And I did that now because I hit them with drain oil.
Yeah, and you want the drain
and
oil
I
to
want
dry.
the drain oil to soak in enough that it's not splashing over me.
Yeah,
all over me.
exactly.
But now I've got to try to cut it. I don't want to cut off so much that that it doesn't have a good start. But I need to cut it all off the top.
Right.
And that means first I have to figure out which ones that are on the inside and the outside are actually wrapping around the top before I can even go and look at the top. In other words, I can't just cut it off the top because that won't do me any good, because they're actually through, over, and around it.
Oh, yes, of course,
So-
because they've had decades to do this.
So it's just, so, and like I said, it'll actually be good for it in the long run.
Oh, yes.
So, but, in fact, a lot of it's dead stuff that I couldn't get to because, it's overgrown. Mm-hmm.
So you have to actually trim it way back to get to the dead stuff.
Way back just to get to the dead stuff. So, see, that was dead, but this isn't, and I'll put it back through there. But yeah, so this is just one of those. Once again, people, as I've told you before, every job is like, it'd be fun if it was once and done, but it's not. It's 50 billion steps, especially when you have no help and you're trying to work on the cheap, which if you've done that, you already know what I'm talking about. So there you go. But yeah, so the idea is to get all this stuff cut out of here so that when I go to work on the top, if any of it's stuck down here, I should be able to get it without having to run
Up and down.
up and down,
Right.
up and down, which is never good for anybody, but especially not old people.
Old arthritic knees don't like that.
Old arthritic knees do not like up and down, back and forth, back and forth. So, yeah, so that's all I'm doing. So, not too exciting, but necessary.
Yep.
Which is a whole lot of these projects. The part you want to do that you're like kind of excited about.
Remind me what that, if I can get a picture of it, that milk jug in the corner is.
Milk jug?
Top right-hand corner over there. The plastic.
Oh, that's a bird nest.
Yeah,
So
there we
they
go.
made for
There we
the
go.
cardinals.
There it is.
Cardinals sleep in there.
Yep, the cardinals
Oh.
love it.
It's a bird nest. I made out of an old milk jug. I just cut a hole in it because I didn't do anything fancy, and it can just stay there because now he's already put nesting in.
Yes, he has.
I did it because it was colder than shit, and his nest had blown out. He had a nest over there. He and his first wife
Yeah.
had a nest over here where they raised babies every year, and it had fallen apart. And he came in here, and it was colder than shit, and there was no place for him to get. So I real quick did that.
And he'd put a nest in there fast.
And I put some stuff in there, and then he just kept building on it. This year he built on it, but
Yeah.
I put some stuff in it just initially to keep him from being cold.
Yep.
Because
Okay.
I'm a sucker like that.
No, they were so
Cold
much
and
fun to
shit,
see
and I'm
that
out
nesting
here.
pair every day. They were so
Oh,
neat.
yeah,
And
well,
the little
and
babies,
it was so neat when kids were little.
to see the babies in the nest.
We
And
would
yeah.
get to watch them every year, so that was awesome.
Because we're up high, we can actually see in without disturbing the nest, which is neat.
Yeah. We can actually see them from the living room window.
Yep.
We could actually watch them from the living room window, which was really cool. Anyway, so, you know,
Okay.
we gotta take care of everything, people. We can't just take care of ourselves, because when plant life dies, everything else dies.
Yep. When animals
When
die.
animals start dying, that's because they can't get food. And if they can't get food, where the hell are we gonna get it? Oh, but just keep building tract housing on the freaking farmland and,
Yep.
you know, believe that corporate farms are going to feed us forever.
Okay, I will come back when you get ready to take that off. Okay?
Okay, well that's going to take a while.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I cut it all loose. I think I'm going to pull most of it off in one thing
Okay.
without having to crawl around on the ladder, but we're about to see.
Oh my goodness. I think that's a yes. Oh my.
Still caught up in a corner. I'll see if I can trim it loose in a couple more places.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot easier. Oh, here we go. It's stuck over here.
Way over there, huh?
Yeah. Well, in one, that's one of the
One of the spots that's holding it back.
bunch of them in the corner, I think. It may just be that some of these littler ones.
Are sticking.
Uh-huh. There's one. It's hooked right there.
Well, that could do it.
Well, vines will do that.
Yeah, they do. They go in and out and up and down.
Well, and by pulling it off a little bit and then coming in and looking, I can actually see where it's stuck at. Okay.
Now let's see if it'll come.
Well, even
Yeah.
if it doesn't, that's a lot of it.
That's a lot of it right there. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so let's see what we got.
Oh, that is crazy.
Oh, what's crazy is it's stuck right there.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. I think you did it. Ta-da.
Ta-da!
By
I
George.
think, well, if I cut that piece through, I think I can pull it to the garden to burn in one long strand. Where the hell did I put my trimmers?
Over there on your bench,
Oh, there they are.
on your blue stool.
Okay. And like I said, a lot of that was dead and needed to come out of there anyway. Okay, that's there and there. Ow, it's on my head.
Ow.
Well, at least I put my point, if that's where it was stuck.
That absolutely was where it was stuck.
Yeah, that's 90% of it, so, yeah. Oh, I hate it when
It's hanging on the bush behind you.
well, at least it's not in the pool.
No, it is not.
So. Okay, so see, now let's see if I can do this for real.
If you can actually drag it, that would be too cool.
Okay, so what I'm going to do though is I'm not going to do...
Watch your hat before it falls in the pool. There you go.
Does your old lady scream at you and make you go... Does your old
Make you jump.
or your old man, or your significant other, if you're afraid to call people that, do they scream at you at random times to make your heart...
Just jump.
Like, think about what they do. She cares that much.
I do. I want to keep your heart
She
pumping.
wants she wants me to get my, what is it, what do they call it?
Cardio.
Get my cardio workout in like 5 seconds by screaming. I think I can get it if I get out the gate.
It would open farther if we didn't have a freeze thaw issue going on with all kinds of stuff pushed up and pulled up, and
There we go.
there we go. And this will be added to the fire pile
That I'm doing in the garden.
in the garden. That is amazing. Wow. That was a lot of work trimming it, but not nearly as bad as it would have been up on top, back and forth trying to cut it out.
Lots easier to carry it all at once than
Then
just move it around.
make 29 trips. Yeah, exactly.
Why do I have safety goggles on? Because I was getting crap in my, my bionic eyes.
So now it's
Now
the
that
fun.
Now that I'm on the sideboard, I have to be more careful.
Yeah.
Getting ready to cut this 2x4 off the bottom, move it up here, move that bottom hinge, so this freaking door will open
All the way.
Because it got down to when the freeze, worst part of the freeze, I had to go through it that way.
Yeah, because it wouldn't open at all.
Because it wouldn't open. It's too close to the ground. Dogs can't get under it if I do that, so that's the main thing. Okay, so now I got to take off the top part of this, which would be a lot easier if I didn't put it on. But I put it on, so I know what that means. That means I'm going to have to pull out 4 billion staples and make 4 million cuts.
Yeah.
Because that's who I am.
Well, and isn't it wrapped over so it's part of the side, or no, they're separate pieces?
They're separate pieces.
Okay,
so there's
well, that's
that.
good.
But I've got to replace all 3 of the crosses. I've got to make sure. See, look at that. Can you see that?
I can't see it, but I see where your finger's
Can they see
disappearing.
that? Look at there.
Yeah, your finger's disappearing in the wood.
That's because, look, that's how rotted out that timber is.
Wow.
So that's why
It's got to go.
That's why we're doing this.
Yep.
Because we just did all this work on the house,
And we would really like to keep this muscadine arbor
and we need the muscadine arbor. We use it.
all the time.
We eat it all the time. We make wine out of it.
And we sit under it for the shade and have a great
Yes,
time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a multi-purpose structure, which I wish I didn't put where I put it, but too late for that now.
Well, yeah, because it's in concrete.
Because it's too close to the house.
Ah, I see. It would be easier to work on if it were not as close to the
Well,
house.
it also causes splashback. If I don't keep the damn thing trimmed on that side all the way to the thing, it splashes back on it and on the house and causes rot.
Yay.
So, yeah.
Live and learn.
Well, do we? Because I'm 64 years old. This week I'm
This week you will be,
64 years
yeah.
old. This week I'm 64 years old. Have I learned a fucking thing? No. If I did, I'd be rich instead of so good looking and so handy. Okay, so I'll show you this little. Okay, so don't do this with your good screwdriver. Do this with your crap screwdriver. This was a crap screwdriver when I bought it 45 years ago. But every once in a while, when the duct tape wears out, I do it again. Because the duct tape being on there helps keep it from splitting because I use it with a hammer. That's all I ever do with this. I don't use this for a Phillips screwdriver, nor did I buy it for a Phillips screwdriver. I got it so I could do this. Drive it in, knock the bar out of the staple.
Yes, because you've been doing fencing forever.
Yeah.
And those are fence staples.
Yep. I also have a fencing tool that I could use, but it's really made for the big staples, not the little ones. These are chicken wire staples.
Whoa, 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 I didn't see that.
Well, it's not a good one.
I just still
It's-
want to show them. Ah, haha,
See,
okay.
because it opened out.
Yeah.
Which it should do. But they do that sometimes. But you can tell how rotten that is.
Yeah, because they're just coming out. And,
Well,
the
no,
and the
because
wood is falling
The
apart.
wood is literally falling apart while I do this. So
I see screws or nails or something standing up.
those are the nails that are supposed to be in the board that shows you how much rot there is.
Yep, yep. That's a lot.
That's a lot of rot. But at any rate, so that's what I'll do. I'll just drive this in, or I'll go get the fence tool, but not everybody has a fence tool. And now,
Now you know how to do it without one.
well, and the fence tool is now $40.
Yeah, yeah.
It's $40 for a freaking fence tool. It's a little fence tool that you put in your pocket and you take it out when you're fixing fence, so you don't have to have a whole pocket full of tools. Which I think I've showed them already.
Oh, I'll show them. If you get it, I'll show them again.
But yeah, so I gotta take this off so I can get the new timbers in.
Oh, watching that
I
board
don't
fall
think that
apart.
taking the top off is going to be that big a deal because it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I can tell. The biggest problem is
Oh
taking...
yeah, that's completely rotted out.
Yep.
I'm going to have to carry it away in buckets.
Yay.
Yeah, see?
It's just
Did
coming
you hand
out.
those dikes?
Sure, hang
No, I'm not calling you a name.
on. I'm turning off.
Okay, hand me this good one.